I should use this effect quite. This, please give a warm applause to Eric Rosenbusch. Many of you, of course, know Eric as a teacher in the field of IITT Moscow, as a great networker in the field of networking our community, and also as a speaker of the last congress in Nepal, the previous one in Innsbruck. And yeah, I'm looking forward to your this year's presentation and to the opening speech of the second day. Please enjoy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jens. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Dr. Nida, Gegenmachi, respected Sowa Rigpa doctors, with your blessing and permission, I'll start the presentation. So my talk, I called it Amrita Hridaya, which is Sanskrit for the heart of ambrosia. And the vision I had with that is to have an exploration of this concept of Amrita, which is the nectar of immortality. How that fits into the science of healing, Sowa Rigpa in general, but then also a larger context. What is its lore? It's the various dimensions of this concept within, you can say, Indo-Tibetan spiritual traditions. And this was inspired by the theme of the conference being the long life and freedom from disease, but I also thought it would be good to just bring a little bit different kind of dimension into these kinds of presentations that we're having. So first, I want to pay homage to Yutok, and in this case, not only to Yutok, but the Yutok family transmission lineage, the transmission of the Dutsi Mendra, which the transformation or accomplishing medicine to transform it into nectar. So this is a key, we'll see in so many aspects of our Sowa Rigpa tradition and Yutok Nyingtik tradition, we can find this concept of Amrita again and again. So that's why I was quite interested myself to research and explore what that means. So in that, we ask for the blessings in all of our practice and all of our endeavors from Yutok and the Yutok lineage. Okay, so let's start with a little bit of perspective. So I think so far the conference there's been a lot of focus on, for example, how we're bridging with modern science, how we're bridging with, in so many different aspects, whether it's botanically, whether it's legally, whether it's, in communication and presentation. And so much of the IITTM or Sorik Kang work is to bridge this traditional medical or healing science with, modern people's mentality, in a way that modern people can understand. And so in that, of course, a huge aspect is how to understand information, how to categorize information. And in our modern world, we are living in a world that goes deeper and deeper into specialization. Every day we find one more and more deep, specialized thing. We'll split an atom, and then we'll split the microatoms, and then the little particles inside the microatoms. And in medicine as well, it's like, the top doctors are the ones that can only treat the one tiniest little specialized thing. But of course, that's quite different than the holistic perspective or the training and the way that medicine and that science existed in the past. So traditional Asian medicine, and you can say traditional Buddhist science, is built upon this concept of the 5 sciences. This was something, it was definitely established in the Nalanda tradition, but as well, possibly even before that, it's a way of dividing all of knowledge into these great kinds of categories. Yeah, good. So these are the 5 sciences. you can see there's 4 above and 1 below. We say the 4 that are above, these are the outer sciences. These are the sciences of the relative world, right? Teaching more and more about relative truth, everything within the realm of impermanence and relativity and so forth. And of those, the first is Sowa Rigpa, the science of healing. Then we have the science of logic, and also understanding cause and effect, understanding how to know, what is the means of true knowledge, which of course is the basis of any kind of scientific endeavor or any kind of knowledge. Then is the science of knowledge, but literally, or the science of language, but literally it's the science of sacred sound. It's understanding words and their meanings and their derivations. And, right, so this of course is also very important. A lot of what we're going to discuss today about this Dutsi or Amrita is very much related to, it's related to the word and the multiple dimensions of meaning that you can find within this word. Then we have the science or knowledge of art, of building, how to construct things, how to build its technology and so forth. Right, so you can see all of these are ways of understanding and ways of relating to our relative impermanent world. Right, and then we have below what's called the inner science, Nangdon Rigpa, Adhyatmika Vidya. Right, so this is the spiritual science. This is the science of Buddha Dharma. It's the science of the ultimate reality. It's the science of how to awaken, and it's the science of how to understand this changeless and enlightened qualities of the mind. Right? So that's why you can say there's the inner and outer sciences. And Sowa Rigpa exists within that. Right? It's not like in the past you would go to study Sowa Rigpa and you didn't learn the others. Actually, like right now, you go to grammar school and high school and these things, and of course everyone needs a basic knowledge of the sciences and the studies of the world. Right? So we need to also include that in our perspective. And in that you can say that, and I'm using the word science. Of course, the word science has a modern meaning also about the scientific method and these things, but you can also say that literally science comes from, I think, a similar word of sentience. I'm not sure. It means knowledge, literally. So how to have knowledge of something. So in that, to have knowledge, the rigpa of healing, of Sowa, in some sense we need to have a context of all of it. We need to be poets because life is poetry. We need to be artists because life and the body is a perfection of art. Right? It's not only, what we call now pure science. It falls into the dimensions of what's currently in humanities or in the arts and so forth. Right, of course, and that's why many people will criticize natural medicine as being pseudoscience or being, not pure science, because it sees that life is art, that life is, actually, we have no idea what life means. Even the top biologist does not know what it means to be alive, fundamentally. Of course, we can study about it, we can study so many details of it, but to know what is life, to know what is real, just experience, is so far it's impossible to describe because our tools, we can't use machine tools to describe that which is completely beyond, something that's alive, right? So in that sense, a doctor should be, a healer, a logician, a poet, someone that knows sound, someone that has skill in art, and also someone that knows this inner science of awakening. And so it's an interesting thing. For example, why, when you get the top degree in any subject, it's called, you get a doctorate, right? The word doctor doesn't only mean a medical doctor, but it also means someone that has reached a great level of expertise in something. So you can see how the medical tradition is so core to knowledge itself. Right? And so for us, for practitioners of Sowa Rigpa and educators of Sowa Rigpa, it's also very important And this is something that Dr. Machi was saying too in his opening address when we were with the Medicine Buddha place, that it's essential that people learn Tibetan culture, Tibetan language, and put things into a larger perspective, because then we can find a deeper and deeper understanding. And it's interesting, for example, Shakyamuni Buddha, in so many instances, is called a doctor. He is healing the remedies of the world. He's healing the mistaken, confused minds of all beings. Right? So you can see how this Sowa Rigpa and this Nangdun Rigpa, the inner science of spirituality, are so vitally linked together. Of course, Sowa Rigpa is treating our relative phenomenal world, but it's really the bridge to, we can't have enlightenment unless there's some deeper level of health and so forth. So in this you can see I use a lot of these long Sanskrit words with lots of dots and squiggles. So this is also maybe a convention more in Buddhist studies, right? Because so much of this knowledge came from, or is very closely linked to the Indian tradition. So, and that's also my personal, I have a background